From the Oval Office this morning.
It's not a Muslim ban, but we were totally prepared. It's working out very nicely. You see it at the airports. You see it all over. It's working out very nicely. And we're going to have a very, very strict ban, and we're going to have extreme vetting, which we should have had in this country for many years.
Now, that was President Trump on Saturday. Hours later, a federal judge in New York, in Brooklyn, actually, temporarily blocked part of the president's order, with 3 other judges following suit yesterday. I want to bring in Fox senior judicial analyst right now, Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Explain to us what the rulings of these judges mean. How the judge in Brooklyn, federal judge, first said, look, we're putting a stay on this, blocking the president's executive order.
Right. Well, look, there are several executive orders here at play. One, the president suspended the refugee program for 4 months. The other, he barred all entry into the United States of all persons from 7 countries. Now, it's significant that the bar was based on their place of origin. It's not based on their religion. However, there's an exemption in the bar for people who are being persecuted and whose lives are threatened and whose only place of refuge is here. So that's the baseline. People arrived here on Saturday afternoon with visas that had been issued by the State Department prior to the ban, and the Department of Homeland Security, which runs TSA, was not letting them in. So a federal judge lifted that part of the ban on a temporary basis, saying it's a very, very small number of people affected by what the judge did. Those who had legitimate visas issued by the State Department cannot be deported. 3 judges followed suit yesterday. What is interesting about these judges is usually judges just make rulings for the geographical area in which they sit. In this case, this judge sits in Brooklyn, which covers Long Island, which covers JFK Airport. Instead of ruling just for JFK, she ruled for every airport in the country, which is what her colleagues did yesterday as well. So this affects a very small part of the president's order. It certainly doesn't affect the guts of the order. It doesn't stop the ban on refugees, and it doesn't stop the ban on all persons from the 7 countries.
But from a legal perspective, do you think that this order was, the way it was issued and written, was lacking?
You talking about the judge's order or the president's executive order?
The president's executive order.
They probably didn't expect the reaction that they got, but as the president said, this is unpleasant business, because this is stopping people from moving who think they have the freedom to move in the name of national security and public safety, something that he promised he would do. A lot of us were surprised that it kicked in so immediately. I mean, it literally kicked in while some people were mid-flight.
Yeah, well, a lot of emotion around this, Steve.
Yes.
And Judge, Senator Chuck Schumer, he was fighting back tears. He was very upset over the weekend while slamming this order. Watch this.
This executive order was mean-spirited and un-American.
Really
that's a political judgment. The president's response would be, we have a very serious problem with bad people coming to this country. We should have stopped them many years ago. I promised to stop them, and now I've stopped them.
By the way,
it's
did we see
business.
Senator Schumer crying after San Bernardino?
This is the first time I've ever seen Senator
Have we ever seen Senator Schumer crying?
I don't want to say definitively, but
after Fort Lauderdale, did he have those crocodile tears?
I've never seen him cry over our military combatants dying overseas, for goodness sakes. But I have a question for the judge.
I'm just saying.
Judge, you and I have really discussed a lot of issues down the road regarding the approach towards the war on terrorism. Is there anything you see where anybody's constitutional rights were violated here at all?
No. No, the Congress has the ability to regulate immigration, and the Congress has given the president the authority to block individuals or groups based on national security. He cannot issue that block based on a First Amendment protected right, like speech or religion or association. But he can block people from a country, and he can block people from a region. That's been the law since the Eisenhower days. President Trump has exercised the law. President Obama did the same thing for 6 months when he blocked all immigration from Iraq.
So to the point that we've been saying all along, that this is not a ban on Muslims, it's not a ban regarding a religious test, it's simply a ban to help secure the safety of the country.
Because it's based upon place of origin and geography. It's not based upon on religion.
Well, how come Saudi Arabia is not on the list? How come Afghanistan's not on the list? How about Pakistan?
I don't know the reason for that. Those are
I'll take a guess.
Those
Well,
are very good questions.
Well, they did.
I'll take
Well, we don't need to guess. They did base this list on the list of countries that the Obama administration had put together in recent years.
Because the
right?
Obama
In terms of
administration
terror
said that's where
threats.
the leading terrorism
Right, and
exists.
so they were trying to base it in what the previous administration was done.
But there may be
had
another
done.
issue, and it is an educated guess based on my experience with the military intelligence. There is a possibility that they provided us with some intelligence. We don't know, and I've said all along we don't know. And
You say
until
you
we
gotta
get all
trust
of the
POTUS
facts,
on this. He's got
Steve,
more
you
trust
information.
POTUS.
You make a very good point. This is not candidate Trump. This is the President of the
Yes.
United States who has at his fingertips the most vast array of intelligence information on the planet.
Right.
Could very well have informed their decision right up to the last minute before he signed it.
That's absolutely
Judge,
true.
quick question. So, looking at the strategy broadly, right, for national security and going forward, what he's going to try to do to keep America safe beyond the refugee and immigration ban that he has instituted. We know from the last 2 terror attacks that were committed on this soil, Omar Mateen in Florida and the San Bernardino shooters in California, they were both homegrown terrorists. So you can keep all the people out of those 7 countries all you want, but these were Americans who were radicalized here. What is his agenda? You know, for people at home that are watching this or just focused on this one ban, what's the agenda to fight terror broadly, especially for those in this country already?
You know, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that the president is determined to address this.
Real quick, Judge, before you go, we got to switch the conversation. I'm wondering if the president will try to change the conversation and announce his Supreme Court pick sooner rather than later. Do you expect it to be Gorsuch or Pryor or what?
I'm smiling because I tried to find out yesterday afternoon, and a person very, very close to the president informed me he's not telling anybody. We don't even know if he's told the candidate yet. So even though there are news reports that it may be today, if it is today, he's told that person this morning, and that person is flying from Arkansas, Pennsylvania, or Denver to D.C. as we speak.
Wow.
Implications of this naming?
Well, if it's one of the 3 finalists that the press is saying are finalists, they are all cut in the image and likeness of Justice Scalia. They each have different strengths and weaknesses, but they all fit the mold and are from the list that President Trump released back in June.
All right, we'll see what Senator Schumer has to say, because he says he's going to push back on everything.
He's just going
cry.
to,
He'll really be crying.
No, Schumer's just going to emote from now on.
I don't know what
Maybe
Senator
maybe he'll
Schumer,
start crying again.
can do. When Chris Wallace spoke to last Sunday, Mitch McConnell, he said, the nominee is going to be confirmed. Are you going to get rid of the filibuster? Chris, the nominee will be confirmed.
So they'll use all
Period.
possible
Yes.
paths to do it. Judge,
Yes.
thank you.
Pleasure, guys.
Always a fountain of information, Judge Napolitano there. Coming up, a cold case solved, how investigators